Welcome to A Transformed Life, the podcast where we alchemize our ashes into art, transform our pain into power and peace. I'm Hope Rose, your hope dealer, inspirational guide, and storyteller in this podcast. Each week, we dive into inspirational stories of transcending our grief, how to navigate custody battles with peace, transform our trauma into triumph, and what seems like a mess into a magnificent masterpiece. Together, we'll foster transformation, resilience, and guide you in claiming personal responsibility for your story. Our stories offer hope, encouragement, and community support, guiding you toward better health and wellness. Join me as we discover actionable ways to leverage our struggles, find healing, and rise like a phoenix. Tune in to discover your power, your divinity, and learn how to embrace your story so that it can serve others on their transformational journey. Hello, and welcome back to A Transformed Life podcast. I am so glad you are here. I am recording this during the midst of Thanksgiving week in the U.S. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to share on today's podcast, I was thinking about holidays. Christmas is universal for everyone in the global planet. And holidays can be really difficult for those of us who are experiencing loss, grief, heartache, heartbreak, difficulty, loss of anything. And before we kind of dive into today's topic, how to navigate the holidays when you are grieving, I want to first ask you to leave a rating for this show. A 5-star rating would be wonderful and greatly appreciated. That is one way you can support this show. I don't receive any sponsorships for this. So as Andy Frisella says on his podcast, support the show, don't be a hoe. So I'm going to take one of his lines for this podcast. I also want to remind you to sign up for the Transformation Times. It is my weekly newsletter, and I will include a link in the bio. So with all of that being said, I am going to dive into today's topic, how to navigate the holidays when you are grieving. And your grief could be in any number of categories. It could be going through transitions from, being in a 2-parent household to now being separated. Maybe your divorce was final. You don't have your kids on Thanksgiving and or Christmas. Maybe you have them one or the other. Anyway, your family dynamics have changed. Grief could be a romantic breakup, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whether that's divorce. Could be just heartbreak of not being with your children that you expected to be with all of the time on every holiday, and that's not going to happen this year. Could be the grief of loss of a job. And so through grief and loss and heartbreak, difficulty, navigating the holidays can be super stressful. And, a lot of people can turn to misaligned choices that don't benefit their overall spiritual health, their well-being. And so I wanted to give you 22 tools for navigating the holidays when you're going through difficult times. And I picked 22 because this podcast is 22 minutes and 22 is a special number. And it just kind of goes with 22 tools for transformation during the holidays. And my first tool is nature. When you get out in nature, you can really connect with Mother Earth, and it's just super grounding for your nervous system, emotional regulation. It really brings peace. And, I always suggest when you're out in nature, whether you're taking a hike, a walk, a run, that it be, really nurturing. And so I always advise, leaving the headphones in the car and really letting nature speak to you, speak to your soul, soothe your soul, and really connect with nature, with the trees, even putting your hands on the trees, on the rocks. I really like to find moss and really just, close my eyes, touch the moss on, whatever surface it's on, and really visualize, really connecting down deep into Mother Earth and what she has to offer me, and receiving that peace, that love and comfort. And so during the holiday season, as you're navigating whatever difficult situation you're going through, make it a priority to get out in nature. Even if you are working in a city, there's usually a tree nearby. And as Zach Bush says, you really want to make it a goal to get out into, nature for, um, that your microbiome. It really helps settle your entire system. Tool number 2, journal. This one's probably always going to be in my toolkit that I recommend because it's a daily practice that I do. It's actually twice a day I do it. I write in the morning and I write in the evening, and it really has become such a sacred space for myself. And when you have this space to just freely write and express whatever you're feeling, the sadness, the disappointment, the expectations you had for your family, for your life. And you can, express whatever you want to on paper. And that is a very healing way to get through difficult holidays. Make, make the journal time sacred and special. Really set up your environment. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Maybe you want to get candles, maybe you want to sage, or you simply just have a colored pen that you want to write on, but really see if you can start implementing a daily writing practice. And I just recommend just free writing, just write what comes to you. I recommend starting with 3 pages, and they can be small. They don't have to be, letter size. And when you start doing this daily practice of just free form writing, you'll engage creative neural pathways, and over time that will build. So it's really a super magical way to take care of yourself, and also to heal at the same time, and to process how you are feeling through the holidays. My third tip is dedicated spiritual care. And dedicated spiritual care, I am separating this from external self-care, because I think a lot of people, they hear, like, take care of yourself, have self-care during the holidays. And it's very abstract. Of maybe most people think of self-care of like, okay, I'll get my hair done, I'll get my nails done. And while external self-care can be important, if you don't take care of your soul, the spiritual aspect of it, the emotional, psychological side, the external self-care is just a band-aid covering up a lot of hurt and wounds, and it doesn't get you to where you want to go. So really being mindful of your spiritual care and taking care of your soul, really connecting with it. And that's what the journaling does, of really connecting with your soul, hearing what your soul is saying to you, like your higher self. And at the beginning, you might not hear that, but over time, over the process of doing these, dedicated practices, you'll begin to come in touch with your soul. The fourth 22 The fourth tool of 22 tools for navigating difficult times during the holidays is dedicated external self-care. And so for me, how I view self-care in the external realm is really mind, body, spirit, and being super intentional with the activities that take care of my, outside. So it could be dry body brushing. It could be using super clean, organic skincare products for your face and for your body. It could be organic facials. It could be, um, any number of things that nourish your body. at the same time also caring for your soul at the same time and really, taking care of both. It's more than just getting your nails done. It's really kind of connecting with your body and taking care of it in a very soul led, inspired way. The fifth tool is rest. The holidays can already be stressful and overwhelming with parties and events and get togethers. And, maybe you have extended family in your life. And so you may feel taxed. You may feel overburdened by, trying to please everyone. And that's, if you have the people pleasing tendency, that's what the dedicated spiritual soul care is all about. And so I encourage you to find this holiday season as a time to rest. If you're able to, have time off of work, build in a time for a nap. Maybe you read a book. Maybe you just slow down and be still. No TV on, no podcast, no music, maybe some like frequency type music, but really just connect with yourself and rest. Rest with your soul, rest with yourself, and become in contact with who you are, and acknowledging what you're going through. This leads into number 6, and that is prioritize sleep. So besides rest, I also am a big proponent of quality sleep, really making sure that you're going to bed at a reasonable hour and really getting sleep. A lot of problems can happen when we don't get adequate sleep. Obviously, I'm sure you've experienced that. If you don't get enough sleep, you might tend to be more grouchy or edgy. And so during the holiday season, when things are already, stressful with navigating loss, grief, heartbreak, difficulty, really step into taking care of your sleep. And if you have trouble with falling asleep, getting to sleep, there are some suggestions I have. My first one is magnesium from Living the Good Life Naturally. Magnesium is best absorbed transdermally, which means through the feet. And so getting this magnesium, you soak your feet in it every night before bed. That can really help us sleep. Rescue Remedy Sleep is you can get the spray from any kind of natural health food store. Even Amazon carries it. And that can also help with sleep. Setting up proper sleep environments. So, of course, no electronics before bed, maybe reading a book, really, again, tapping into the spiritual care and the self-care tool tips I've mentioned before. Some people sleep really well with a weighted blanket. I've actually incorporated that recently, and that can be very comforting. So there's lots of holistic, nature-based ways to help with sleep. 7, acknowledge the pain by writing a letter to the grief, loss, and sadness. I love to write, and maybe you have an adverse opinion on writing, but writing is just a staple. It's like water. And so when you write letters to different aspects of yourself, writing letters to people that have hurt you, and like you can write letters to, just about anything. And writing a letter to the grief, the loss, the sadness, the life that you thought you were going to have, the holidays that you thought you were going to have, write a letter and just, pour out your soul, on pen and paper. And like I always say, when the pen flows, the soul becomes free. When the pen flows, the soul becomes free. And so really writing, nobody has to read it. You can even burn it afterwards, have a sacred letter burning ceremony if you so desire, but really acknowledge the pain by writing a letter to whatever it is that you are missing, going through, and putting words to that and letting that emotion kind of move through your body. Number 8, ask friends for support. And this one If you don't have extended family in your life, this one is a big one. Ask, a trusted friend to, give you a call on the holiday. Maybe it's a video call. Maybe you reach out and say, hey, the holidays, the specific day is going to be very difficult. Can we, touch base in the morning? Can we, in the afternoon at like some point during the day? I would really, this is what I need. And so becoming comfortable asking for what you need. And again, it goes back to tip number 3 of, dedicated soul care is really coming to understand what you need, that you are worthy, you're valuable, of asking for what you need and for support going through the holidays. And you don't have to, be alone, and asking them, your friends, I'm sure, want to be a support to you. And so they would feel honored to hold hold you, as you navigate the holidays and difficult times. Number 9, be gentle with yourself. This one is one that I am continuously working on. Being gentle with myself, being gentle with yourself. Give yourself extra grace during the holidays. And part of being gentle with yourself is not to overextend yourself, saying no more often than you would prefer, not saying yes to every party, every event, and just being super kind. When we overextend ourselves, our, emotional, when we're going through, significant transitions in our life and loss and grief and, in the beginning stages, overextending ourselves wears us out generally. And then we just are not at full capacity to be with ourselves, let alone with, with other people. And so being gentle with yourself is so important. And so I just suggest to really tap in with, what does gentleness look like with yourself, your self-talk, how you think, how you, interact with your inner dialogue, your inner voice. That could be, a gentle practice that you want to start incorporating. It could also, be really looking at your schedule, being mindful, incorporating stillness and silence into your life to be gentle with yourself, so you're not bombarded with, ads and shows and TV programs and parties and events and get-togethers and obligations. Number 10. This is, guess what? Another writing tip. And this one is, write yourself a letter to your future self a year from now. Where do you want to see yourself 1 year from now? And write yourself a letter to that future self from the perspective today of like what you went through this next year to get to 365 days from now. And this can be a really expansive practice. And, dream big, and you can put that letter in a safe place, and even, refer back to it to remind yourself of where you are going and how you want to feel, how you, envision healing from grief and loss that you went through this year, and how that you can transform it to a year from now. Number 11, don't feel obligated to go to all the events. We've kind of touched on this a little bit in the previous tool tips, and I just want to reiterate it again to, don't feel obligated that you have to go to every single event, especially if they're late at night and you're, driving and you're tired, you're exhausted, and it doesn't leave space and the respect that your loss, your grief, and your heartbreak requires. And so just remind yourself that you don't have to go to all events. It's perfectly acceptable to say no. Number 12, check in with yourself. If you're feeling disconnected, if you're feeling overwhelmed, take a moment, 60 seconds, 30 seconds, and just like close your eyes. Make sure like your feet are, planted on the ground. If you're able to, be out in nature, but really just take a quick scan of, where are you with yourself? What does yourself need? What do your inner children need? Are they feeling abandoned? Are they feeling rejected? Are they feeling sad? And really check into yourself of like, what do I need to take care of myself in this moment? Is it, connection with myself? Is it rest? Is it, saying no, setting appropriate boundaries? And that one is a really powerful one to check in with yourself. Number 13, get yourself an understanding, compassionate coach. I can't speak enough to this one. I mean, all points are relevant, but if you have an understanding coach or therapist or someone who trauma, um, someone that's really versed with loss and grief and can be a safe place to walk beside you through the holiday season is really valuable. And if you need a coach, I am happy to support you in that journey. Reach out to me if that is of value to yourself. Number 14, eat nurturing food. This is another non-negotiable in my life, no matter if it's the holiday season or not, but really focus on eating nurturing, high quality food, high quality protein. Choose organic whenever possible, instead of opting for a lot of carbs. And there's nothing wrong with carbs, by the way. But if you tend to fill up on carbs, your energy is going to be a little bit more. Well, let me backtrack. If the carbs you choose are not in alignment with how you want to feel, they will catch up with you. And so it's okay to have some organic pasta with some organic local fed beef. However, really make sure you're getting like quality protein. This is really important, especially for women in hormones, like in the morning. Make it a goal to have 30 grams of protein for breakfast. I typically have about 3 local eggs with grass-fed beef sausages, and that is about 30 grams of protein I have for that. You could also make yourself a smoothie that has quality protein powder in it. That is really helpful if you have trouble eating with, going through grief and loss and stress. A smoothie can be calories. I know for myself, I tend not to eat when I am, sad and grieving. And so smoothies are really beneficial for that. Number 15, skip the alcohol. I have really never drank my entire life, and I'm so thankful for that. Alcohol is just straight up poison, and alcohol to include, beer and liquor, like all forms of alcohol. And so really consider skipping all alcohol, especially during the holiday season, and see how your life change. I know that when I am looking on social media and people are, starting to not choose alcohol, how they have noticed that their life improves. And so maybe this tip will help you navigate, difficult holidays so you don't have to numb out. You don't have to disassociate by using alcohol to cover up the sadness that is within inside you. 16, forgive yourself with specific statements. And this one, I've touched on this one before, but forgiving ourselves, forgiving situations, forgiving other people is just so important, especially when we're going through grief and loss and moving away from the victim consciousness mindset. And the forgiveness statements are just, super simple. I will say them again. The first one is, I forgive myself for judging myself, fill in the blank, because the truth is, fill in the blank. And the second one is, I forgive myself for buying into the misbelief that, fill in the blank, because the truth is, fill in the blank. And so those two statements, I basically say them on repeat all day long, all week long. And anytime a situation comes up, using a situation or a person or, even myself, like those statements are super powerful. And it really begins to pivot your entire world radically for the better. Number 17. I hope you like this one. Get a massage. I made a goal in 2024 to get 2 massages a month, and I'm happy to say I have fulfilled that goal so far this year. And being an athlete, like I always, got 1 a month, and I wanted to kind of step it up and get 2, and it's been a really pivotal practice for me. And so if you haven't gotten a massage, if you get one very irregularly, make it a point to get one more frequently and really have that body touch and, connect with yourself and give yourself that magnificent self care. Number 18, we're almost done. 18, move away from victim consciousness. So, moving away from victim consciousness of, just focusing on the loss, the grief, what you don't have, what you expected, to saying statements, I don't prefer this, or I don't think I like this. So you can still acknowledge the sadness and the grief that you have, but you shift from focusing on the loss to I don't prefer this. I don't think I like this. And that can be a really powerful practice. 19, stay away from violent movies, shows, and books. If you are already, dealing with change that you didn't anticipate, whether it's a loss of a job, transitions with, your family, divorce, court, death, financial loss, really you want to stay in a high vibrational frequency as, best as possible. And violent movies and shows and books do not support that. And if you're going through difficult times, you really want to elevate yourself by doing everything I've mentioned up until this point and supporting your spiritual overall health, as well as, mind, body, spirit health, by being in nature instead of, violent movies and other similar topics. Number 20, stay present with what you are doing. This can be a really big tip that could be difficult to implement. If you notice yourself, getting caught up with the story that's going on, bring yourself back to the present of like, my feet are on the floor. I'm typing on my computer. I'm looking out the window. Like, today is Thursday. Today is Friday. I see the sunshine. I see the snow. I see the beach. Like, really get present with what you're doing right now in this moment. And that will help you from spiraling out from what you don't have. Number 21, begin a new tradition that feels peaceful and calming to you, not because a tradition that's what's always been done. And, when we talk about families and, whether it's divorce or separation or, custody, anything in the family court realm, your family may have had, traditions that have been passed on, or your family may have started a new tradition when you began your family. And now that maybe your children aren't going to be with you for Thanksgiving or Christmas or, whatever holiday, maybe it's Easter or maybe your birthday or, whatever it is, begin a tradition that you want to bring into your new life, your new transformed life. And it could be super simple, but something that feels peaceful and calming and unique to yourself, that doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but that can be grounding for yourself in this new journey. And then 22, we made it to 22. Cheer yourself on. I like this one. Another one is one that I've, been working on as well. Be your own cheerleader, be your own advocate, celebrate all of the successes in your spiritual and emotional life that you have overcome, that you have navigated. And yeah, really tap into what an incredible job you're doing and acknowledge yourself for that. So be your biggest cheerleader. So we've made it through the 22 tools for navigating the holidays when you are grieving. I really hope those were helpful to you. I'm thinking about making a PDF that you can download on my website if that would be of interest to you. shoot me an email, send me a direct message on Instagram, and I can put that together if that is something that would be of value to you. As we wrap up today's show, I have a Black Friday announcement for you, of course. I like to call it Soulful Friday, as I'm recording this right before Black Friday. This will be published right after Cyber Monday, all these small business Saturdays. But I'm offering an incredible deal on my VIP transformational days. And when you book a VIP day, you get additional 2 months of coaching with me. So that's biweekly video calls and email support. It's an incredible value. I highly recommend that you take advantage of that. And I'm also offering 50% off of the Healthy Home Starter Kit. That's $18. So those are my 2 Black Friday specials I have for you. I hope you take advantage of them. I really would be honored to support you in your transformational journey, whatever you want to tackle in mind, body, spirit, and make 2025 a transformational year for your entire life, home, business, whatever area you want to elevate in and expand and evolve. Make sure you are following me on Instagram. That's where I share most of the updates and inspiration for you. Sign up for my weekly The Transformation Times newsletter. And one more thing, I did have my first in-person visit with my son this past week. It was incredibly difficult, and I'm not going to say too much more on that due to some legal issues that are still pending. Anyway, it was really good to see him in person. It had been 31 months since we saw each other face to face, and so we have a lot of healing to do to bring peace to this little boy who has been through so much, and peace to the collective as a whole. So with that is the update I have on the visit. And yeah, thank you for being a part of my journey. And I will see you next week. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for listening to a Transformed Life podcast. If you got something out of today's episode, please take a screenshot and share it on social media with your takeaway. And don't forget to tag us at Hope Rose Speaks. Have a beautiful day.